We're here at the Book Expo 2007, and I'm sitting here with Paul Boor, and he's the author of The Blood Notes of Peter Mallow. Can you tell me a little bit about the book?
Sure. It's basically a biomedical thriller, based in the most dangerous infectious disease labs that we have in the United States. And it's about how an organism can get made or created accidentally or on purpose and released. Actually, it's sort of based on the bird flu kind of concept, plays a big role in it. And really, it's about the characters involved in the laboratory.
So it's about the characters and the situation they're put in?
Yeah, the situation they're in is that they have a virus, which is potentially dangerous, and through a variety of strange happenings during the plot, it gets released, and I wouldn't want to give the whole thing away, but really what I tried to do was think about how within the laboratory setting, because I'm a scientist and I work in the laboratory every day, I tried to think about how could something like this really happen, and really it goes back to, again, the characters, the people who are involved, what makes them tick, out of revenge or anger or whatever mechanisms, their own personal relationships there are, might make them do something like this.
So what you're saying is that inspiration from this story comes from real life, just the people around you?
Yeah, exactly. I would like to be able to call myself a scientist writing real science.
You know, what do you expect a reader to take away from this? Are they going to be afraid, like, oh man, is this kind of people working in labs, or is it just, you know?
Yeah, partially that. I think people should be aware of the potential for things to occur in laboratories. I think a lot of, ever since 9/11 and since the big push to have biodefense laboratories and so forth, which I think is a very important issue and needs to be done, there's been a lot of laws passed making it very strict, making security very much tighter and so forth. And I think that's all very good. And in the plot, in the story, you actually see that in action, but you also see how it can be manipulated too. So, yeah, I think people ought to come away from the story with a little bit of a feeling of uneasiness, maybe, about what might happen.
For other authors out there who want to create a story like this or similar, I mean, how do you find the time? Like, working as a scientist, I mean, when do you have time to sit down and write the novel? That's
a difficult question. Yeah, I've been writing since high school, one thing or another. I've written a lot of poetry that's been published, and for a while I was publishing short stories. Most of the time I do writing in the early morning. It's about the only time before I go to work that I can really think clearly about it, to tell you the truth, because I have a day job that takes a lot of time. Of course, I do a lot of writing in my job. I have to write scientific articles. I've written 120-some scientific articles and grants all the time, grant proposals, that sort of thing. So I'm always writing. It seems like I'm at the keyboard a lot, but I'm also at the keyboard in the morning thinking more along the lines of fiction.
So where can interested readers find a copy of The Blood Notes of Peter Mallow?
The Blood Notes of Peter Mallow is going to be available at all of the major bookstores, and also fine independent bookstores as well. And also it can be found at the Sterling House website directly, or by calling 1-888-542-BOOK.
And the Sterling House website is sterlinghouse-bookstore.com.